Hi, I'm Kimberly Bilsborough and I am a Bachelor of Law and Legal Practice student here at Flinders. Today was a dramatisation of a real life court case. We had a forensic specialist, we had a toxicologist, we also had eyewitness testimony, and we had testimony from the accused herself. So it was really interesting. We also had a jury, who were the audience, vote on the accused fate.
Can you please rise, please? And we'll bow to our judge. Flinders courtroom is now in session. Please be seated.
Good morning. You have all been called today to decide the fate of the accused who stands trial for murder in the case of Queen against Georgie David. Jury, you will hear the facts of this case, including testimony from the accused, an eyewitness account and a forensic expert. And at the end, you will take a vote to decide the fate of the accused. If the accused is found innocent, they will be released. And if they are found guilty, they will be taken away immediately to start their sentence.
I'm Rihanna Cermak and I'm studying a Bachelor of Law and Legal Practice at Flinders University. I was the judge today in the dramatisation of a court case that students study here in their first year of law school. This is similar to a normal court setup. There are definitely a few differences because we had to adapt it to make sure that it flowed clearly and made sense to the audience, but it's very similar.
In this case, the victim died of drowning. The question for the court is whether it was an accident or whether the accused intended for it to happen. Are both sides ready?
Yes, Your Honour.
Proceed.
My name's Georgia Paletta. I was the accused in the case. The judge enters while we all stood. Then it's up to the prosecution to make their case, trying to prove beyond reasonable doubt that I, the accused, committed the crime.
Just for the record, your name is Georgie David?
Yes.
So, Miss David, were you at Cove Campsite on the 14th of February 2014 at 7 p.m?
Yes, I was.
Hi, my name is Nitya and I'm studying a Bachelor of Law and Legal Practice here at Flinders. I was the police prosecutor. That entails me presenting to the audience here the evidence that will help the court.
I put it to you that from the evidence gathered and the blood test from the deceased, you had about 20 cans of beer between yourselves. At some point, you had a disagreement about something. Could you tell the court what was that about?
Yes, well it was like this. She owed me money for the drinks, she kept drinking and never gave me any cash. So I got angry and we got into an argument about it.
And then what happened?
I guess we got into a bit of a scuffle and I ran into the water to get away from her. She followed me, so we kept fighting.
Was she at the spot where you left her?
No, she was in the water. I suppose the tides took her away. I swam in to get her out of the water, but it was too late. She was gone.
Miss David, I put it to you that you went to check to see if Lizzie was still alive. Your physical argument in the water did not kill her, but your act of removing her from the area where you found her and placing her onto the sand just a few meters away from the water killed her.
Today was a joint collaboration between the psychology department, the forensics department, as well as the law and criminology here at Flinders to showcase to prospective students as well as their parents on what a courtroom scene would look like.
So you are an expert in the identification of chemical compounds?
Yes.
Is it true that there were 20 empty cans of beer found at the scene of the crime?
Yes, 20 empty 375 milliliter cans, which had contained beer with an alcohol strength of 3.5%, were found at the crime scene.
But because it was a joint collaboration this time round, we had the input from the psychology as well as the forensic science department to bolster our case and to give them a proper presentation of what a trial scene will look like should they pursue law and go on to be lawyers in the future.
So were you able to determine a blood alcohol level for the deceased?
Yes.
And what was it?
The blood alcohol level of the deceased was found to be 0.08% at the time of death.
Okay, Miss Rowe, could you please state your qualifications to the court?
So I have a Bachelor in Forensic and Analytical Chemistry with honours in Biology.
Okay, so you're an expert on DNA and blood pattern analysis, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Rowe. Now tell me, what blood patterns were observed on this t-shirt?
Passive blood stains.
And what type of activity could produce such a stain?
So passive blood stains are formed when the blood travels through the air in the form of a droplet, with the only force acting on it being gravity.
Okay. So could this pattern, for example, be produced from a wound on my client's face, from which blood drops from her face to her shirt?
That's one possibility, yes.
Thank you. No further questions. Members of the jury, I put it to you that my client was acting in self-defence. The fact that blood was found on Miss David's t-shirt proves that she was in fact bleeding, and blood patterns are consistent with a bleeding wound above the shirt.
Thank you. You may now step down. I believe that wraps up the facts of the case. As we can see, what truly happened on that day is very foggy, from the recount of a drunken accused and a witness who was confused about what they saw. Forensic evidence has also been presented. The prosecutor and the lawyer in this case have collected evidence, examined the witnesses, and will now put it to you, the jury, to decide the fate of the accused. Miss David, can you please retake the stand in order to hear your verdict? Thank you. Jury, I will now ask you to vote. I will give you 1 minute to discuss the verdict with other jury members, and then I will ask you to vote. Please discuss. Thank you. Now, all those that believe the accused is guilty of murder, please raise your hand. All those that believe the accused is innocent of the charge, please raise your hand. An interesting response. You stated that the accused is not guilty, and as a result of your finding, she may immediately now go free. As you are the jury, your verdict applies. Thank you, members of the jury, for deciding this case. You are hereby discharged from your duties.